My perfect boyfriend has decided he will never marry me because he promised his late wife that he'll never marry another, and he'll never experience true love again, but I still want him to propose. For context, I, 35 feet, have been with my boyfriend, 40 meters, for almost 2 years now. Throughout our relationship, he has only been the most attentive, loving and thoughtful partner. We share house chores, he would buy me little gifts every now and then, he would call me every day while I'm on my way home from work, he always talk about me with his mates etc. Like, I can't even find a single irritable thing about this guy. Well, except he won't marry me because he promised his late wife that she will be his only wife. She passed away 6 years ago from illness and he was pretty much messed up for 3 years. After lots of therapy and working on himself, he gradually opened up and we met through a board game group. He never really spoke about her until we became serious. According to him, she was the one that made him believe in true love and the idea of a soulmate. He also claims that he has moved on, but to honor her memory and promise to her, he will never have a second wife. After we have discussed this, he has never mentioned her again. It's our second anniversary soon and I'm just thinking about what I want in my life. I'd really like to get married, I want someone to propose to me and I want a groom with tears in his eyes as he sees me walking down the aisle. I love this man with all my heart and he has given me everything I could ever want in a husband, except he won't be my husband. I honestly don't know what to do. I know it's a common thing to be partners in all but paper, but I guess I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I feel like maybe deep down inside him, I'm still second to her. How do I navigate this? Relevant comments. Comment 1. If you want marriage, then unfortunately you're not compatible. Comment 2. So his late wife made him promise at 34 that he would never marry? I would never do that to my husband. I would want him to be happy again. Does he have children? Does he want any more? Do you want them? If marriage is a deal breaker, you know what you have to do, but I wouldn't worry about being second to someone who would leave such a legacy. God rest her soul. I am not trying to speak ill of the dead, just saying. Response. She didn't ask him for that promise. He made it willingly when she was still alive and healthy. He doesn't have children and doesn't want one. I'm on the fence in that regard. Update. A lot of people shared their view with me in my previous post, so I thought of sharing an update. As I expected, he is adamant in his stance. He was also a bit upset that I made him bring up the topic of his late wife, as he doesn't like talking about her. I think he just doesn't like remembering that she's dead. But he also understood that I could have doubts about his commitment and where I stand in his life. I'm not quoting him exactly, but he said something like this. My words have meaning, and because of this, you know, when I make a promise, I mean it. I said that I will stay with you forever, so I will stay with you forever. If you want a ring, I will give you a ring. If you want to wear a pretty dress, we can get you a pretty dress. But please don't make me go against my word, because if I do, nothing I say will mean anything anymore. I could promise to love you and maybe stop loving you one day, and you cannot hold it against me. Mary was my first love after a string of broken relationships. I love the way I love because I learned it from her. I am who I am because of what I have experienced before. Please understand that sort of impact in my life. I have never compared you to her, I have never actively brought her up in our conversations, I don't even keep mementos of her in our home. I know he keeps them in the bank, out of respect for you. So why do you question my commitment towards you? I honestly don't know how to respond at the end of that. My mind went completely blank and I felt like an idiot. I bawled my eyes out and he just comforted me. We live in a country where de facto partners have the same legal rights as a married couple, so I wasn't worried about those issues. I guess I just really needed to hear him affirm his feelings towards me. Those who commented that I merely want a wedding could be right as well. Maybe what I wanted was just the grandiosity of a wedding. So that's something I have to think about. And also, I won't lie that I was extremely jealous of his late wife. Resentment for her is definitely something I should also think about. Someone said couples therapy, but I think the one that actually needs therapy is me. But yeah, that's about it. I'm probably staying because I know he loves me and I do love him. Lots of introspection for myself from here on. Thank you everyone for your kind comments and suggestions. I hope you have a lovely day. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I feel like if marriage is what you want, you should end this relationship sooner than later. You said you're staying, but I feel like you can't easily get rid of a desire to get married. It could nag you for a long time and your resentment will grow. Comment 2. Nope. Nope. I did this, once, too. And there is nothing more soul-crushing than watching someone you love neglect your needs for someone who isn't around to care. Promises like that aren't made for late exes, they're made for themselves. The late ex is not doing it to you, he's doing it to you, and he's still making you suffer because someone unfortunately passed. Even if you try to make this work, you're going to get tired of being neglected when you're the one who's there. You're going to eventually feel like that even though you've been around him longer than their relationship, if you stick around that long, that you're still not going to be enough for him to move on into the next chapter of life with. And even then, if somehow you're convinced to be okay with this, you get to watch later in life when it's his turn to go, and you hope to be at his bedside to hold his hand through it. You get to be locked out of that room and forced to wait in the waiting room with no idea what is going on because no one will answer any of your questions, and all you can do is wait. He's not just condemning you to being viewed as essentially less valuable, but he's also condemning you to a fate of loneliness and loss greater than what he's experienced, all because he fails to understand that marrying someone and moving forward in life with someone is not a replacement for a previous person, but an entirely different experience that is new and not the same. This is not okay. It's not fair to you, and from my own experience, I feel very strongly that you are emotionally being taken advantage of and you're in a position to be gaslit and blamed for however you feel about this. Get tired of it, and then you're too pushy, but if he gives you what you then it's your fault. He decides to lie and cheat. Get mad at him for wasting your time, and he gets to claim he's always been the nice guy and told you how it is. And that ambiguously threatening if you make me into a dishonorable person, no good to my word. If you do this to me, bloody man up, dude, and stop making someone accountable for your own choices. Yes, in adult life sometimes people make promises they realize they can't keep. Yes, that's life. I promised to never break up with my high school boyfriend. Surprise, I'm 40, and I'm not with my high school boyfriend. But that doesn't mean my whole life is a lie. I'm so sorry you are going through this, op. I really feel for you, and this thread in particular triggers me because I went through 4 years of this in a relationship that lasted longer and had more life events than what the dude did with his late ex. But for all the times I held him when he cried, all the sacrifices I gave, all the love I poured into it, and all the times I put his needs first, from taking care of his senile dementia mother who wouldn't stop threatening me, to risking myself pulling his dog out of a fire, always having his back. It was never enough to finally accept building a legitimate future and all the privileges that come with it. You don't get the house shopping, you don't get to be in the know during emergencies, you don't get the "oh, it's so nice to meet his wife" when he starts a new job. You get "if you were such a great girlfriend, why doesn't he marry you?" and the "nope, we're not going to discuss procedures and costs with you because you're just a girlfriend," and "if you stick around long haul until end of life." Either it's you can't take time off work to mourn his passing because bereavement leave is for family only, and you also need to find a new place to live because that's his house and his family decided to run the eviction process on you, so now you're homeless, mourning, still have to go to work. And you might be lucky to go to the funeral, but you're not going to be able to keep anything to remember him by because his family wants it. I don't mean to sound like I'm projecting, but please don't do this to yourself. You're going to end up with a complex if you stick around, where she has schlong blocked your entire life despite you're the one there to do the heavy lifting. Sometimes jealousy is not supposed to be ignored. So please move on, don't do 4 years like I did. It's been a while now, but I now have to do therapy to be able to function in the relationship that actually is living the dream for me.